You wake up every day carrying a quiet question you never ask out loud, not because you don't feel it, but because you're afraid of what the answer might reveal. You wonder why happiness feels temporary, why calm disappears the moment life becomes difficult, why even on good days, something inside still feels unsettled. You've probably told yourself the same story again and again. I'll be happy when things improve. I'll feel calm when life becomes easier. I just need fewer problems. But what if that belief is the very reason peace keeps escaping you? What if happiness was never meant to be found after life becomes easy, but learned inside the difficulty itself? Most people spend their lives chasing a version of happiness that cannot survive reality. They look for peace in perfect circumstances. They wait for quiet in a loud world. They expect joy from a life that was never designed to be painless. And every time life pushes back, they blame themselves, the world, or fate. But here is the uncomfortable truth. No one explains clearly. Life does not become calm so that you can be happy. You become calm so that life no longer controls you. This book is not about pretending everything is fine. It is not about forcing positivity, and it is not about ignoring pain. This book is about learning how happiness actually works, even when life is hard. Especially when life is hard, because happiness is not a feeling you wait for. It is a skill you build, a skill shaped by small mental shifts, by how you interpret stress, by how you speak to yourself when no one is watching, by how you relate to pain, loss, pressure, and uncertainty. In the coming chapters, you will discover why some people stay grounded in chaos, while others collapse under far less weight. You will understand why gratitude works only when it's real, why connection heals wounds success cannot touch, why small daily wins quietly rewire your brain, why resilience is not toughness, but flexibility, and why letting go is not weakness, but emotional intelligence. Most importantly, you will learn how to build a calm inner system that does not depend on perfect days, perfect people, or perfect outcomes. This is not about changing your life overnight. It's about changing the lens through which you live it. If you've ever felt tired of motivational noise, if you've ever wondered why advice works for others, but not for you, if you've ever asked yourself, why do I still feel empty even when things look fine? Then stay with this book. Because by the end, you won't just understand happiness, you'll know how to practice it, quietly, daily, and honestly. And if this kind of clarity matters to you, if you want content that goes deeper than surface motivation, make sure you stay connected. Subscribe, not for entertainment, but for understanding. Now, let's begin where happiness truly starts. Chapter 1. What happiness really is and what it is not. Happiness is one of the most misunderstood concepts in modern life. People talk about it constantly, chase it relentlessly, and yet struggle to define it clearly. That confusion is not accidental. Most of what you have been taught about happiness is incomplete, oversimplified, or quietly misleading. Happiness is not a permanent emotional high. It is not constant pleasure. It is not the absence of problems. And it is definitely not a reward you receive once life becomes perfect. These beliefs are comforting, but they are also destructive. When you believe happiness means feeling good all the time, every difficult emotion starts to feel like failure. Stress feels like weakness. Sadness feels like something to escape. Anxiety feels like proof that something is wrong with you. But nothing could be further from the truth. Real happiness is not fragile. It does not collapse the moment life applies pressure. In fact, authentic happiness often coexists with difficulty. It survives disappointment. It adapts to uncertainty. It grows stronger, not weaker, through hardship. To understand happiness properly, you must first separate it from momentary pleasure. Pleasure is reactive. Happiness is relational. Pleasure depends on external stimulation, good news, comfort, success, validation. When the stimulus disappears, the feeling fades. That is why pleasure is unstable by design. It was never meant to last. Happiness, on the other hand, is rooted in how you relate to your life, not how perfect your life appears. It is the quiet sense that you can handle what comes next. It is the confidence that emotions pass without destroying you. It is the inner steadiness that allows joy and pain to exist side by side without conflict. Happiness is not an emotion you chase. It is a capacity you build. This is where most people get stuck. They wait for happiness to arrive instead of training themselves to sustain it. They postpone peace until circumstances cooperate. They treat happiness as something life owes them, rather than something they actively practice. But life does not negotiate. Challenges arrive whether you are ready or not. Loss appears without permission. Stress does not ask for approval. If happiness depends on conditions you do not control, then happiness will always remain temporary. This is why people feel most unhappy not during hardship, but during expectation gaps. When reality fails to match what they believe happiness should look like, frustration grows. The truth is simple, but uncomfortable. Happiness is not found in avoiding discomfort. It is found in learning how to move through discomfort without losing yourself. This distinction changes everything. A happy person is not someone who never feels pain. A happy person is someone who does not panic when pain appears. They do not catastrophize every bad moment. They do not interpret struggle as personal failure. They do not assume negative emotions are permanent. Instead, they understand that emotions are information, not commands. This understanding creates psychological flexibility. Psychological flexibility is the ability to experience thoughts and emotions without being controlled by them. It allows you to feel sadness without becoming hopeless, stress without becoming overwhelmed, fear without becoming paralyzed. This flexibility is the foundation of sustainable happiness. When happiness is defined as flexibility rather than constant positivity, something powerful happens. You stop fighting your own mind. You stop demanding that every day feel good. You stop judging yourself for normal emotional responses. You stop wasting energy resisting what is already happening. And paradoxically, peace increases. This is why people who accept emotional reality often feel calmer than those who obsess over being happy. Acceptance does not mean surrender. It means clarity. It means recognizing that happiness is not built by controlling life, but by responding wisely to it. Another critical misunderstanding is the belief that happiness is self-centered. In reality, shallow happiness is self-centered. Deep happiness is expansive. When happiness depends only on personal comfort, it shrinks under pressure. But when happiness is rooted in meaning, connection, and purpose, it becomes resilient. Meaning gives pain context. Connection softens isolation. Purpose provides direction when motivation fades. This does not mean life becomes easier. It means life becomes manageable. Happiness, then, is not about feeling good. It is about functioning well under real conditions. It is the ability to wake up, engage with your responsibilities, care about others, and continue moving forward, even when motivation is low. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself. Happiness is often quiet. It shows up as emotional balance. As for self-respect, as the absence of constant inner conflict, it feels less like excitement and more like alignment. When you understand happiness this way, you stop chasing illusions and start developing skills. Skills like gratitude that are honest, not forced. Perspective that reframes stress without denial. Self-compassion that stabilizes you when you fall short. Resilience that grows through repetition, not inspiration. This book is built on that foundation, not the fantasy version of happiness sold by motivational slogans, but the durable version that survives reality. In the next chapter, we will explore why you have more control over happiness than you were ever taught, and how understanding this control frees you from unnecessary suffering. For now, remember this: happiness is not the absence of storms. It is the confidence that you can stand steady while they pass. Chapter 2: Why Life Feels Heavy, Even When Nothing is Wrong. There are moments when you pause and ask yourself a confusing question: why does everything feel heavy when, on the surface, nothing is actually wrong? Your life may look stable. You may be doing what you're supposed to do. responsibilities are handled, problems are manageable, and yet, beneath it all, there is a quiet weight you cannot explain. This experience is more common than people admit, and it has nothing to do with weakness, ingratitude, or failure. The heaviness you feel is not caused by a single event. It is caused by accumulation. Modern life rarely overwhelms us through one dramatic crisis. Instead, it wears us down through constant, low-level pressure that never fully switches off. Your mind is always processing, always anticipating, always evaluating what comes next. Even in moments of rest, your nervous system stays alert. This is the first truth most people miss. The mind does not distinguish between physical danger and psychological pressure. Deadlines, expectations, social comparison, financial concerns, unresolved emotions. Your brain treats all of these as signals requiring vigilance. Over time, vigilance becomes exhaustion. This is why life can feel heavy even when nothing is wrong. You are not responding to the present moment alone. You are responding to everything that has piled up beneath it. Another factor contributing to this heaviness is emotional backlog, unexpressed frustration, unprocessed disappointment, ignored grief, suppressed fear. None of these disappear just because you keep functioning. They remain stored in the background, quietly draining energy. People often assume emotional weight comes only from trauma or major loss, but most heaviness comes from unacknowledged strain. The small things you told yourself didn't matter, the conversations you avoided, the rest you postponed, the boundaries you didn't set. Your mind keeps track, even when you don't. There is also a cultural misunderstanding at play. We live in a world that rewards productivity but neglects recovery. Movement is praised. Stillness is suspicious. Slowing down is often mistaken for laziness. So people keep pushing, long after their internal systems are asking for pause. This creates a dangerous disconnect. Your external life continues moving forward. Your internal life struggles to catch up. The result is emotional heaviness without a clear source. Another overlooked cause is constant mental comparison. Even if your life is stable, you are continuously exposed to other people's highlights. Success, progress, happiness, all edited and compressed into images and moments. Your brain absorbs this input, whether you consciously agree with it or not. Comparison does not require envy to be damaging. It only requires exposure. Over time, it quietly creates dissatisfaction. Not because your life is bad, but because it feels behind. This sense of being perpetually not there yet keeps the mind in a state of tension. The heaviness grows. There is also the issue of unresolved identity pressure. Many people feel heavy not because life is difficult, but because they are living slightly misaligned with who they truly are. They meet expectations but not meaning. They perform roles but suppress needs. They succeed outwardly but disconnect inwardly. That internal conflict consumes more energy than most problems ever could. Your mind was not designed to maintain a false version of itself indefinitely. Eventually, the cost becomes emotional fatigue. It is important to understand this clearly. Feeling heavy does not mean something is wrong with you. It means something is unaddressed. The solution is not to push harder. It is to listen more accurately. This is where most advice fails. People are told to stay positive, be grateful, or focus on the good. While these ideas are not wrong, they become harmful when used to override awareness. You cannot outthink emotional weight. You must process it. Processing does not mean dramatic confrontation. It means honest recognition. Recognizing that your nervous system is tired, that your mind has been carrying more than it should. That rest is not indulgence, it is regulation. When you allow yourself to acknowledge heaviness without judgment, something subtle shifts. The weight does not immediately disappear, but it stops growing. Clarity replaces confusion. Self-compassion replaces self-criticism. This is the beginning of relief. Heaviness often fades not when life improves, but when inner resistance decreases. When you stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What has my mind been managing without support?" That question opens the door to healing. In the chapters ahead, you will learn how to reduce this internal load, not by escaping life, but by engaging with it differently. You will learn how gratitude works when it's honest, how connection lightens psychological weight, how small wins restore energy, and how emotional flexibility creates space where heaviness once lived. For now, remember this: feeling heavy does not mean you are failing. It means your system is asking for care, not correction. And learning to respond to that request is one of the most important steps toward lasting happiness. Chapter 3. Gratitude. As a mental rewire, gratitude is often misunderstood. And because of that misunderstanding, many people quietly reject it. They associate gratitude with denial, pretending things are fine when they are not, with forcing a positive attitude on top of unresolved pain. When gratitude is framed this way, it feels dishonest and emotionally unsafe. But real gratitude is not emotional sugarcoating. It is neurological training. Your brain is constantly scanning your environment for meaning, not for truth, but for relevance. What it notices repeatedly becomes what it believes matters most. This is not philosophy. It is how attention shapes perception. When the mind repeatedly focuses on threat, lack, and disappointment, it strengthens the neural pathways associated with stress and dissatisfaction. Over time, this focus becomes automatic. The brain learns to expect negativity, even when circumstances are neutral. Gratitude interrupts this pattern, not by denying difficulty, but by widening perception. True gratitude does not say, "Everything is good." It says, "Something meaningful still exists here." That distinction is critical. Gratitude works when it is grounded in reality, when it acknowledges pain without letting pain dominate the entire mental landscape. It is not about replacing negative thoughts. It is about reducing their monopoly. The brain is plastic. It changes based on repeated use. Every time you intentionally notice something that is working, supportive, or stabilizing, you reinforce a different circuit. Over time, that circuit becomes easier to access. This is why gratitude is described as a mental rewire, not because it creates instant happiness, but because it gradually changes what your mind defaults to. Most people attempt gratitude incorrectly. They search for reasons to feel thankful, while ignoring what hurts. The brain detects the mismatch. Resistance increases. The practice collapses. Effective gratitude starts with honesty. It allows pain to exist without argument. It acknowledges struggle without minimizing it. Then it gently asks a different question. What is still holding me together right now? That question shifts attention without denial. Maybe it is your ability to keep showing up. Maybe it is a single relationship that offers safety. Maybe it is your health, your breath, your capacity to reflect. Gratitude is not about abundance. It is about recognition. Recognition activates regulation. When the nervous system detects stability, even in small doses, it relaxes. Stress hormones decrease. Cognitive flexibility increases. The mind becomes less reactive. This is why people who practice grounded gratitude often sleep better, think more clearly, and recover emotionally faster. Not because their problems disappeared, but because their system learned how to rest between challenges. Another misconception is that gratitude must feel warm and emotional to be effective. It does not. Sometimes gratitude feels neutral, quiet, almost practical. That still counts. In fact, calm gratitude is often more powerful than emotional gratitude because it integrates more easily into daily life. It does not depend on mood. It depends on awareness. Consistency matters more than intensity. A single moment of appreciation practiced regularly changes the brain more than occasional emotional highs. This is where gratitude becomes sustainable. It stops being an exercise and becomes a lens through which setbacks are still setbacks, but not personal defeats. Where discomfort is still uncomfortable, but not catastrophic. Gratitude also protects against a specific psychological trap, the trap of postponing peace. Many people tell themselves they will feel grateful once life improves, once they reach a milestone, once the pressure lifts, once they become someone else. But the brain does not work that way. If you train your mind to wait for perfect conditions, it will never recognize progress. Satisfaction will always sit just beyond reach. Practicing gratitude now teaches the brain that peace is not conditional. This does not reduce ambition. It reduces desperation. There is a difference. Ambition moves forward with clarity. Desperation moves forward with tension. Gratitude removes unnecessary tension. It also softens self-judgment. When you notice what you are doing right, even in small ways, your inner dialogue changes. You become less harsh, more patient, more resilient. This internal shift matters more than most external changes. A person who treats themselves with respect during difficulty recovers faster than someone who constantly criticizes their own responses. Gratitude reinforces that respect. It reminds you that effort counts, that endurance counts, that showing up counts, even when results are slow. This is especially important during hard seasons. Hard seasons distort perception. They have a narrow focus. They convince the mind that struggle is permanent and progress invisible. Gratitude counters that distortion, not by promising relief, but by proving continuity. You are still here, still adapting, still capable of growth. That awareness stabilizes the nervous system. One more important clarification: gratitude is not passive acceptance. You can be grateful and still want change. You can appreciate stability and still pursue growth. You can acknowledge what is working and still improve what is not. Gratitude does not make you complacent. It makes you grounded. And grounded people move more effectively. In the next chapter, we will explore how human connection amplifies this grounding effect and why emotional weight becomes lighter when it is shared appropriately. For now, remember this: gratitude is not about convincing yourself that life is easy. It is about reminding your mind that life is survivable, meaningful, and still open to growth. Chapter 4: Human Connection, the Missing Medicine. Human beings are not designed to carry life alone. This is not a motivational statement. It is a biological fact. Your nervous system evolved in connection with others. Safety, regulation, and emotional balance were never meant to be solo achievements. When connection weakens, stress intensifies, even if life appears stable on the surface. This is why people can feel lonely even when surrounded by others. Connection is not about proximity. It is about emotional accessibility. You can interact with dozens of people every day and still feel unseen. You can fulfill social obligations and still feel disconnected. What the mind seeks is not interaction, but attunement, the sense that someone understands, hears, or accepts you without performance. When that is missing, the nervous system remains alert. Loneliness is not just emotional discomfort, it is physiological stress. Research consistently shows that chronic loneliness increases cortisol levels, weakens immune response, and intensifies anxiety and depressive patterns. The body interprets isolation as vulnerability. This happens quietly, gradually, often without awareness. People rarely say, "I am lonely." They say, "I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, or I just feel off." Disconnection hides behind exhaustion. Another misunderstanding is the belief that independence equals strength. While autonomy is important, emotional isolation is not resilience. True resilience includes the ability to receive support, not just provide it. Many people learned early that relying on others was unsafe or disappointing. So they adapted by becoming self-sufficient, capable, reliable. But adaptation is not the same as health. What once protected you can later exhaust you. Carrying everything internally requires constant effort. The mind never fully rests because it believes there is no external support to lean on. Over time, this creates emotional rigidity. Connection softens that rigidity. It does not remove problems. It makes them easier to hold. Even brief moments of genuine connection, being heard, sharing a thought, without judgment, receiving empathy, signals safety to the nervous system. Oxytocin releases, muscle tension decreases, mental clarity improves. This is why people often feel lighter after meaningful conversation, even if nothing was solved. The relief comes from shared awareness, You are no longer alone with the weight. Modern life makes connection harder, not easier. Technology creates constant communication without depth. People are available but not present. Conversations happen, but vulnerability rarely does. As a result, many people live emotionally unseen lives. They share achievements, not doubts, opinions, not fears, updates, not truths. This creates a subtle sense of separation, a feeling that parts of the self must remain hidden to be accepted. That concealment is exhausting. True connection does not require full disclosure to everyone. It requires selective honesty with safe people. 1 or 2 spaces where you do not have to perform. Without that, happiness becomes fragile. Stress compounds. Emotional heaviness increases. Another important aspect of connection is self-connection. You cannot fully connect with others if you are disconnected from yourself. Ignoring your own emotional signals makes it difficult to recognize them in others. Suppressing your needs trains the mind to treat connection as optional rather than necessary. This often shows up as irritability, withdrawal, or numbness. Reconnecting with yourself means allowing internal states to be acknowledged without immediate correction, feeling tired without forcing productivity, feeling sad without rushing to fix it, feeling uncertain without demanding answers. This internal attunement builds emotional literacy, and emotional literacy improves external relationships. People who understand their own inner experience communicate more clearly, set healthier boundaries, and connect more authentically. Connection also requires courage, not dramatic vulnerability, but measured openness. Sharing something real risks misunderstanding, but avoiding that risk guarantees isolation. Healthy connection balances honesty with discernment. You do not need to explain everything. You need to express something, a thought, a feeling, a moment of truth. That small opening often creates unexpected relief. It reminds the nervous system that support exists. Connection also reframes hardship. Pain shared becomes contextualized. Stress voiced becomes manageable. Fear named becomes less overwhelming. This is not because others fix it, but because meaning forms through shared experience. Humans regulate emotions together. This is called co-regulation. Children learn calm through caregivers. Adults retain the same mechanism, even if they pretend otherwise. When life becomes hard, connection does not eliminate difficulty, but it prevents collapse. It anchors you. In the coming chapters, we will explore how small internal practices, like celebrating progress and managing energy, build on this foundation of connection. For now, remember this: you are not meant to be strong alone. You are meant to be supported while being strong. Happiness does not grow in isolation. It stabilizes through connection, first with yourself, then with others who allow you to be real. Chapter 5: Small Wins, Big Chemical Shifts. Most people underestimate the power of small progress. They assume that change only counts when it is dramatic. That growth must be visible. That effort matters only when it produces immediate, noticeable results. As a consequence, they overlook the very mechanism through which happiness and resilience are built. The human brain does not respond primarily to big achievements. It responds to evidence of movement. Every time you complete something small, your brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is often described as the reward chemical, but its real function is motivation. It tells your nervous system, this action is worth repeating. When small wins are ignored, motivation collapses. When small wins are noticed, momentum forms. This is why people feel discouraged even when they are making progress. Their efforts go unrecognized, not by others, but by their own minds. The brain learns what you teach it to value. If your internal standard says that only major success counts, then everything short of perfection feels like failure. That belief quietly drains energy and creates dissatisfaction, even during productive periods. Small wins correct that distortion. They recalibrate perception. A small win is not about lowering standards. It is about acknowledging reality accurately. Getting out of bed when motivation is low is a win. Completing a task despite resistance is a win. Choosing rest instead of burnout is a win. Stopping a negative thought before it spirals is a win. These actions rarely look impressive, but neurologically, they matter more than most people realize. When dopamine is released consistently in small doses, the brain becomes cooperative rather than resistant. Effort feels lighter, focus improves, emotional regulation strengthens. This is how habits form without force. People often wait for motivation to act, but motivation is a response, not a prerequisite. Action creates motivation when the brain perceives progress. Small wins provide that signal. Another reason small wins matter is that they counter learned helplessness. When people experience repeated stress without noticing progress, the brain begins to assume effort is pointless. This creates passivity, procrastination, and emotional numbness. Small wins interrupt that pattern. They remind the nervous system that influence exists. Those actions still matter, that the individual is not powerless. This sense of agency is essential for happiness. Happiness does not come from control over outcomes. It comes from confidence in one's ability to respond. Small wins strengthen that confidence incrementally. There is also a psychological benefit related to self-trust. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, trust deepens. Every time you dismiss your effort as insignificant, trust erodes. Self-trust is not built through intention. It is built through consistency. Many people struggle with happiness, not because life is hard, but because they no longer trust themselves to follow through. They make plans, break them, and internal credibility suffers. Small wins repair that damage. They rebuild integrity quietly. This is especially important during difficult phases of life. Hard periods reduce energy. Expectations should adjust accordingly. But instead, people maintain unrealistic standards and then judge themselves for falling short. This judgment increases stress and reduces motivation further. Small wins offer an alternative. They adapt standards to current capacity without abandoning growth. They allow progress without punishment. Another overlooked benefit is emotional regulation. When you recognize small wins, you shift attention from what is missing to what is functioning. This does not deny difficulty. It balances it. Balance calms the nervous system. A regulated nervous system thinks more clearly. It recovers faster. It resists overwhelm. This is why people who practice noticing small wins often feel calmer. Not because their lives are easier, but because their internal systems are more stable. Small wins also compound. One action leads to another. One success increases confidence. Confidence increases engagement. Engagement creates further progress. This chain reaction does not require inspiration. It requires recognition. The problem is not that people fail to make progress. It is that they fail to register it. When progress is invisible, effort feels pointless. When progress is visible, effort becomes meaningful. This applies not only to tasks, but to emotional growth. Not reacting immediately to frustration is a win. Taking a pause before responding is a win. Choosing understanding over escalation is a win. These internal shifts are often more important than external achievements. They change how you experience life. It is important to note that small wins must be authentic to be effective. Forcing celebration feels artificial. Exaggeration triggers resistance. The brain senses manipulation and disengages. Recognition should be factual, not dramatic. I did something difficult today. I stayed present when it was uncomfortable. I moved forward even though it was slow. These statements ground the mind in reality. Small wins are not about excitement. They are about reinforcement. Over time, this reinforcement builds emotional endurance. People who consistently acknowledge progress are more likely to persist during setbacks. They are less likely to catastrophize delays. They maintain perspective. This is one of the quiet foundations of happiness. Happiness does not come from constant success. It comes from sustained engagement. Small wins make engagement sustainable. In the next chapter, we will explore how movement and stillness work together to regulate emotional energy and why the body plays a central role in mental calm. For now, remember this: big change is built from small proof, and every small win you recognize teaches your mind that life is still moving forward, even when it feels slow. Chapter 6: Movement, Stillness, and Emotional Release. The mind is not separate from the body, no matter how much modern life encourages you to believe otherwise. Thoughts do not exist in isolation. Emotions are not abstract concepts floating in the head. Every mental state has a physical component. Stress tightens muscles. Anxiety shortens breath. Sadness slows movement. Calm relaxes posture. When emotional weight builds up, it settles in the body first. This is why trying to think your way out of distress often fails. You cannot reason your nervous system into calm when it is already overstimulated. The body must be involved in the process of regulation. Movement and stillness are not opposites. They are complementary tools. Most people rely too heavily on one and ignore the other. Some people stay constantly busy. They move, distract, and fill every quiet moment to avoid discomfort. Others withdraw completely, mistaking immobility for rest. Both approaches create imbalance. Healthy emotional regulation requires intentional movement and intentional stillness. Movement allows emotional energy to discharge. Stillness allows emotional clarity to emerge. When stress accumulates, the nervous system enters a state of activation. Heart rate increases. Muscles prepare for action. Attention narrows. This response evolved to protect you from immediate danger. But modern stress rarely resolves through action. Emails, expectations, unresolved conversations, and long-term uncertainty do not end with physical release. The body remains activated with nowhere to send the energy. This is why anxiety often feels restless. The system is prepared to move, but movement never comes. Intentional movement completes the stress cycle. This does not require intense exercise. Walking, stretching, slow rhythmic motion, or controlled breathing can all signal safety to the nervous system. The key is not intensity, but completion. Movement tells the body, the threat has passed. When the body receives that message, the mind follows. Stillness serves a different purpose. While movement releases tension, stillness allows awareness. It creates space for emotions to be felt without being acted upon. This is where understanding develops. Stillness does not mean suppressing thought. It means observing without immediate reaction. Many people fear stillness because it reveals what has been ignored. Thoughts surface, feelings arise, discomfort becomes visible, but avoidance strengthens distress. Stillness teaches tolerance. When you allow sensations to exist without resistance, the nervous system learns that emotions are survivable. They rise, peak, and fall on their own. This reduces fear of internal experience. Fear is what makes emotions overwhelming. When fear decreases, intensity decreases. This is why mindfulness practices improve emotional regulation, not because they remove thoughts, but because they change your relationship with them. You stop trying to control experience and start allowing it to move naturally. Movement without awareness becomes a distraction. Stillness without movement becomes stagnation. Together, they create balance. Another important aspect of movement and stillness is energy management. Emotional exhaustion is not always the result of too much work. Often, it is the result of poor recovery. The body needs regular signals that it is safe to rest. Without those signals, fatigue accumulates even during inactivity. Intentional movement resets energy. Intentional stillness preserves it. This combination prevents burnout. It also improves emotional clarity. When the body is regulated, thoughts slow down. When thoughts slow down, perspective widens. When perspective widens, problems feel less consuming. This is not because problems disappear, but because the mind is no longer trapped in survival mode. Many people confuse emotional calm with numbness. They stop moving internally because they are overwhelmed. But numbness is a sign of overload, not peace. True calm is responsive. It allows feeling without flooding. Movement and stillness together create this state. There is also a psychological benefit related to self-respect. Choosing to move when energy is low communicates care. Choosing to rest when needed communicates boundaries. Both actions reinforce the belief that your well-being matters. This belief is foundational to happiness. People who ignore their bodies often feel disconnected from themselves. They push past signals, suppress discomfort, and treat exhaustion as weakness. Over time, this erodes trust. Listening to the body rebuilds that trust. It teaches you that attention leads to stability, not chaos. This chapter is not suggesting rigid routines or performance goals. It is suggesting responsiveness. Move when tension builds. Pause when clarity is needed. Adjust based on feedback. This adaptability is emotional intelligence in action. Happiness is not maintained through control. It is maintained through attunement. When you learn to notice when movement is needed and when stillness is required, you reduce unnecessary suffering. You stop forcing the mind to solve problems the body is meant to process. In the next chapter, we will explore how changing perspective transforms pressure into possibility, and why the meaning you assign to experiences determines their emotional impact. For now, remember this: calm does not come from thinking less. It comes from regulating more, through movement, through stillness, and through listening to the body that carries your mind. Chapter 7. Changing the lens. Not the life most suffering does not come from what happens. It comes from how what happens is interpreted. Two people can experience the same event and walk away with completely different emotional outcomes. One feels defeated. The other feels challenged. One feels trapped. The other feels redirected. The difference is not strength or intelligence. It is perspective. Perspective is the lens through which experience is filtered. It determines whether pressure feels crushing or constructive, whether difficulty feels personal or temporary, whether uncertainty feels threatening or open-ended. Life does not hand you meaning. Your mind assigns it. This is why changing circumstances often fails to bring relief. People assume that once external problems are solved, internal peace will follow. But if the interpretive lens remains unchanged, new problems simply replace old ones. The weight returns. Changing the lens does not mean denying reality. It means interpreting reality more accurately. Many people unknowingly adopt distorted lenses early in life. These lenses form through repetition, not intention. Past experiences, criticism, failure, or instability quietly shape how the mind expects the world to behave. Over time, expectation becomes assumption. The mind stops asking, "What is happening?" It starts declaring, "This always happens." This shift is subtle but powerful. When the mind believes that struggle is permanent, every challenge feels heavier. When it believes that failure defines identity, every mistake feels threatening. When it believes that discomfort means danger, growth becomes frightening. These beliefs are rarely questioned. They feel like facts because they have been reinforced emotionally. Changing perspective begins with interrupting certainty. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What else could this mean?" This question does not remove pain. It creates flexibility. Flexibility allows the mind to consider alternatives without forcing optimism. It introduces space between stimulus and response. That space is where emotional regulation lives. Perspective does not change events. It changes impact. A delay can feel like rejection or recalibration. A loss can feel like punishment or redirection. A struggle can feel like proof of inadequacy or evidence of effort. None of these interpretations erase difficulty, but some interpretations add unnecessary suffering. Another common distortion is over-identification. People confuse experiences with identity. I failed becomes I am a failure. I am struggling becomes I am broken. I feel lost becomes I will always be lost. These conclusions are emotionally convincing but logically flawed. Experiences are temporary. Identity is not defined by moments. When perspective blurs that distinction, emotional pain intensifies. Changing the lens restores separation. You begin to see thoughts as descriptions, not verdicts. Emotions as signals, not truths. Situations as chapters, not endings. This shift reduces internal pressure. It also increases resilience. Resilient people are not those who avoid difficulty. They are those who interpret difficulty without self-attack. They allow themselves to struggle without assuming deficiency. They face uncertainty without demanding certainty. They accept discomfort without catastrophizing its meaning. This is not passive acceptance. It is psychological maturity. Perspective also influences time perception. When stress is interpreted as permanent, time feels heavy. The present feels endless. Relief feels unreachable. When stress is interpreted as temporary, time loosens. The mind can tolerate discomfort because it expects change. Expectation shapes endurance. This is why hope is not naive. It is neurological. The brain functions differently when it anticipates relief. Perspective creates that anticipation. Another powerful lens shift involves responsibility. Many people feel overwhelmed because they carry responsibility for things they cannot control. Other people's emotions, outcomes they cannot predict, standards they did not choose. Perspective clarifies boundaries. It separates what is yours to manage from what is not. This reduces guilt, resentment, and exhaustion. Letting go of unnecessary responsibility does not mean indifference. It means accuracy. Accuracy is calming. Changing perspective also allows gratitude to coexist with ambition. You can acknowledge what is working without settling. You can pursue improvement without rejecting the present. This balance prevents burnout. Without it, growth becomes a form of self-criticism. Perspective reframes effort. Effort stops being proof of inadequacy and becomes proof of engagement. Struggle stops being evidence of failure and becomes evidence of investment. This reframing sustains motivation. It also improves emotional health. When the mind feels attacked, it resists. When the mind feels supported, it adapts. Perspective determines which response emerges. This chapter is not about positive thinking. It is about precise thinking. Positive thinking ignores reality. Precise thinking understands it. It recognizes patterns without exaggeration. It acknowledges difficulty without personalization. It allows complexity without overwhelm. This level of thinking takes practice. It requires slowing down automatic interpretations and questioning inherited narratives. It requires noticing language, especially the words used internally. Words like always, never, ruined, impossible. These words are a close perspective. Replacing them opens it, not with affirmations, but with accuracy. The goal is not to convince yourself that everything is fine. The goal is to stop convincing yourself that everything is hopeless. That shift alone reduces suffering dramatically. In the next chapter, we will explore how purpose stabilizes perspective and why meaning provides strength when motivation fades. For now, remember this. You do not need a different life to feel lighter. You need a clearer lens through which to see the life you already have. Chapter 8. Purpose. The quiet source of daily strength. Purpose is often misunderstood as something dramatic, an extraordinary mission, a grand calling, or a single passion that defines an entire life. When people cannot identify something that feels that large, they assume they lack purpose altogether. That assumption quietly weakens them. Purpose is not a destination. It is an orientation. It is the internal why that steadies you when motivation fluctuates and circumstances change. Unlike motivation, which rises and falls with emotion, purpose provides direction without intensity. It does not shout. It anchors. This is why purpose becomes most visible during difficult periods. When external rewards fade and energy drops, purpose continues to guide action. It answers a different question than motivation does. Motivation asks, how do I feel right now? Purpose asks, what matters even when this feels hard? That difference is critical. Many people feel emotionally drained not because life is overwhelming, but because their actions feel disconnected from meaning. They stay busy, productive, and responsible, yet internally depleted. Effort without meaning feels heavy. Effort with meaning feels sustainable. Purpose does not remove effort. It changes how effort is experienced. When you know why something matters to you, resistance decreases. You still feel fatigue, frustration, and doubt, but those emotions no longer derail you. They become part of the process instead of signs to stop. This is why purpose stabilizes happiness. Happiness that depends on feeling good collapses under stress. Happiness grounded in meaning remains accessible even during discomfort. Purpose also reduces internal conflict. Many people feel torn because they pursue goals that reflect external expectations rather than internal values. They chase outcomes that impress others but do not resonate personally. Over time, this creates a subtle tension, a feeling of living slightly off course. That tension is exhausting. Purpose realigns effort with identity. When actions reflect values, the mind experiences coherence. Decisions feel clearer. Guilt decreases. Energy stabilizes. Even difficult choices feel more tolerable because they make sense internally. Purpose does not require certainty about the future. It requires clarity about direction. You do not need to know exactly where you will end up. You need to know what you are moving toward. This could be growth, contribution, integrity, learning, stability, or care. Purpose can be quiet and personal. It does not need public validation. In fact, purpose becomes weaker when it is overly performative. Another misunderstanding is that purpose must feel inspiring. Often, it does not. The purpose feels steady, not exciting. It feels grounding rather than stimulating. It shows up as consistency rather than passion. This is why many people overlook it. They wait for enthusiasm to signal meaning, but meaning often appears as commitment during low motivation. Purpose becomes visible in what you continue doing when no one is watching and no reward is immediate. This kind of commitment builds self-respect. Self-respect is a powerful stabilizer of happiness. When you live in alignment with purpose, you trust yourself more. You feel less reactive to external opinions. You recover faster from setbacks because your identity is not tied solely to outcomes. You know why you are doing what you are doing. That knowledge reduces anxiety. Purpose also clarifies priorities. When everything feels urgent, nothing feels meaningful. Purpose filters decisions. It helps you say no without guilt and yes without hesitation. This filtering reduces cognitive overload. The mind relaxes when it understands what matters most. Another important aspect of purpose is that it expands perspective. Short-term discomfort becomes tolerable when placed within a larger framework. Effort becomes an investment rather than a burden. Setbacks become feedback rather than verdicts. Purpose transforms interpretation. It does not make challenges disappear, but it changes their emotional weight. This is why people with a sense of purpose often appear calmer during uncertainty. They are not immune to stress. They are anchored beneath it. Purpose also encourages patience. When actions are driven by meaning rather than urgency, there is less pressure for immediate results. Progress is measured in alignment, not speed. This patience prevents burnout. Burnout occurs when effort is sustained without replenishment. Purpose replenishes by providing internal reward. It reminds you why rest matters, why boundaries matter, and why sustainability matters. Purpose does not demand constant output. It supports longevity. It also deepens connection. When you act from purpose, relationships become more authentic. You communicate more honestly. You set clearer boundaries. You attract people who resonate with your values rather than your performance. This reduces relational strain. Another benefit is emotional regulation. Purpose provides a reference point during emotional turbulence. When feelings intensify, purpose offers orientation. It helps you respond rather than react. You may still feel anger, sadness, or fear, but you are less likely to act impulsively. You pause, you choose, you align. That choice preserves peace. It is important to note that purpose evolves. It is not static. It grows with experience, reflection, and self-awareness. What mattered at one stage of life may shift later. This does not mean the purpose was false. It means it was appropriate for that season. Allowing the purpose to evolve prevents rigidity. Rigid purpose becomes pressure. Flexible purpose becomes support. This flexibility is crucial for long-term happiness. You are not meant to define your entire life in advance. You are meant to stay oriented toward what matters now, while remaining open to change. Purpose lives in that balance. In the next chapter, we will explore self-compassion and why being gentle with yourself strengthens purpose rather than weakens it. For now, remember this: purpose does not make life easier. It makes life coherent. And coherence, more than comfort, is what allows happiness to endure, even when life is hard. Chapter 9. Learning to be gentle with yourself. Most people believe they will improve faster if they are harder on themselves. They assume self-criticism creates discipline, that pressure builds strength, and that kindness leads to complacency. This belief is deeply ingrained and deeply flawed. Harsh self-judgment does not produce resilience. It produces fear. When the mind feels attacked, it does not grow. It defends. It becomes rigid, anxious, and reactive. Progress slows not because effort disappears, but because safety does. Self-compassion is not softness. It is psychological stability. It allows growth to occur without internal resistance. Being gentle with yourself does not mean ignoring responsibility. It means separating accountability from self-punishment. You can acknowledge mistakes without turning them into identity. You can recognize limitations without concluding inadequacy. This distinction is essential. Many people confuse kindness with excuse-making. But self-compassion does not excuse behavior, it contextualizes it. It asks a more useful question, not what's wrong with me, but what made this difficult? That question opens understanding instead of shame. Shame narrows attention. It collapses perspective. It convinces the mind that problems are permanent and personal. Under shame, the nervous system stays activated. Learning becomes difficult. Creativity shuts down. Emotional regulation weakens. Self-compassion reverses this process. When the mind feels supported, it becomes curious rather than defensive. Curiosity leads to insight. Insight leads to adjustment. Adjustment leads to improvement. This is how change actually happens. Another misconception is that self-compassion requires constant reassurance or positive self-talk. It does not. Self-compassion is primarily behavioral, not verbal. It shows up in how you respond after mistakes, in how you pace yourself during difficulty, in whether you allow recovery without guilt. These responses matter more than affirmations. Consider how you would treat someone you care about who is struggling. You would not deny their responsibility, but you would also not attack their character. You would offer understanding, guidance, and patience. Self-compassion applies that same standard inwardly. This is not self-indulgence. It is consistent. The absence of self-compassion creates a specific pattern. People push themselves relentlessly. They maintain performance until energy collapses. Then they judge themselves for needing rest. This creates cycles of overexertion followed by withdrawal. Over time, trust erodes. The mind learns that effort leads to punishment. Motivation declines. Emotional exhaustion increases. Gentleness breaks this cycle. When effort is met with support instead of attack, the nervous system remains engaged. Learning continues. Recovery accelerates. This is especially important during hard seasons. Difficulty already taxes emotional resources. Adding self-criticism multiplies the load. Self-compassion reduces unnecessary strain. It allows you to experience difficulty without compounding it. Another benefit is emotional honesty. When you are gentle with yourself, you allow emotions to surface without judgment. Sadness does not become weakness. Fear does not become failure. Uncertainty does not become incompetence. This honesty improves self-awareness. Self-awareness improves decision-making. You respond more accurately to what you need rather than what you think you should need. Self-compassion also strengthens boundaries. People who treat themselves harshly often struggle to set limits. They overextend, tolerate mistreatment, and ignore exhaustion. They believe worth is earned through endurance. Gentleness corrects that belief. It affirms that rest is not reward, it is regulation. That saying no is not rejection, it is protection. These boundaries preserve energy. Preserved energy supports happiness. Another critical aspect is how self-compassion affects failure. Failure becomes information rather than indictment. You examine what didn't work without collapsing into self-blame. This accelerates learning. People who recover quickly from failure are not fearless. They are non-hostile toward themselves. That internal safety allows experimentation. Experimentation leads to growth. Self-compassion also stabilizes identity. When self-worth depends entirely on performance, emotional swings intensify. Success inflates identity. Failure deflates it. Life becomes unstable. Gentleness anchors identity beyond outcomes. You remain the same person whether a day goes well or poorly. This continuity reduces anxiety. It also improves resilience. Resilience is not about tolerating pain indefinitely. It is about recovering efficiently. Self-compassion speeds recovery by reducing internal friction. This does not remove accountability. It removes unnecessary suffering. It is important to note that self-compassion must be practiced intentionally. Most people default to self-criticism automatically. Gentleness feels unfamiliar at first. The mind may resist, equating it with weakness. Persistence matters. Each time you respond with understanding instead of attack, you retrain your internal environment. Over time, the nervous system learns that effort is safe. Safety sustains effort. This chapter is not asking you to lower standards. It is asking you to remove hostility. High standards supported by kindness produce growth. High standards enforced by punishment produce burnout. Happiness depends on the former. In the next chapter, we will explore the art of letting go, why holding on to emotional weight drains energy, and how release creates space for peace. For now, remember this. You do not become stronger by being harder on yourself. You become stronger by learning how to support yourself while you grow. Chapter 10. Letting go without losing yourself. Letting go is often misunderstood as giving up, forgetting, or becoming indifferent. Many people resist it because they believe holding on is a form of strength, loyalty, or protection. They fear that release will erase meaning, invalidate pain, or weaken identity. But holding on and staying strong are not the same thing. Most emotional weight is not caused by what happened. It is caused by what is still being carried. Unresolved resentment, repeated mental replay, unanswered questions, old expectations that no longer fit the present. These elements consume energy quietly. They do not announce themselves as problems. They show up as fatigue, irritability, tension, and emotional heaviness. Letting go is not about erasing memory. It is about ending unnecessary repetition. When the mind revisits the same experience again and again without new information, it is not processing. It is looping. Loops drain attention and block emotional movement. The brain stays engaged as if resolution is still possible, even when it is not. Letting go interrupts that loop. This does not mean denying hurt. It means acknowledging that continued attachment is no longer serving recovery. Another common misconception is that letting go requires forgiveness in the traditional sense. While forgiveness can be helpful, it is not always the first or only step. Letting go begins with acceptance of reality. Acceptance does not mean approval. It means recognizing what cannot be changed. This recognition allows the nervous system to stand down. When the mind stops fighting what already happened, energy becomes available for the present. Many people confuse acceptance with weakness. In reality, acceptance is clarity. Clarity reduces resistance. Resistance intensifies suffering. Holding on often feels active, but it is emotionally static. The same feelings repeat without progress. Letting go introduces movement. Movement creates relief. Another fear people have is that letting go means losing part of themselves. They worry that releasing anger, grief, or identity attached to pain will leave them empty. But identity does not come from suffering. It comes from values, choices, and continuity. Pain is an experience, not a definition. When you release attachment to pain, you do not lose yourself. You reclaim parts of yourself that were constrained by it. Letting go also involves releasing expectations, especially those placed on others. Expectations create emotional contracts. When those contracts are broken, disappointment turns into resentment. Over time, resentment becomes a chronic burden. Releasing expectations does not mean lowering standards. It means adjusting reality. You still choose who remains in your life. You still set boundaries. But you stop demanding emotional repayment from those unable or unwilling to provide it. This reduces internal tension. Another aspect of letting go is releasing outdated narratives. Stories like, "I should be further by now," "This shouldn't have happened," or "I'll never." Recover from this, keep the mind anchored to a version of reality that no longer exists. Narratives shape emotion. When narratives are rigid, suffering increases. When narratives are flexible, healing accelerates. Letting go involves revising stories without erasing the truth. You honor what happened, while changing how it is framed. This reframing is not denial. It is integration. Integration allows memory to exist without control. Another important element is timing. Letting go cannot be forced. It happens gradually through repeated choices. Each time you choose not to re-enter the loop, each time you redirect attention gently, each time you stop rehearsing what cannot be changed, small releases accumulate. Over time, the emotional charge weakens. This is not forgetting. It is freeing. Letting go also restores presence. When emotional energy is tied to the past or future, the present feels thin. Engagement decreases. Joy becomes inaccessible. Release brings attention back. You become more available to what is happening now. This availability is essential for happiness. Happiness cannot exist where attention is trapped elsewhere. Another benefit is emotional neutrality. Letting go does not always produce relief immediately. Sometimes it produces quiet. Neutrality, space. That space is valuable. In space, perspective returns. In space, choices reappear. In space, emotional balance rebuilds. This is why letting go is often followed by clarity rather than excitement. Clarity is more sustainable. Letting go also improves self-trust. When you release what harms you internally, you send a signal to the mind that well-being matters. This reinforces boundaries, not just with others, but with your own thought patterns. You learn that you do not have to engage every thought, that you can choose where attention goes. This choice is power. Power reduces helplessness. Letting go is not passive. It is an active decision to stop carrying what no longer serves growth. It requires honesty, patience, and repetition. In the next chapter, we will explore how building consistent systems, not motivation, creates lasting happiness, and why routine can be a source of freedom rather than limitation. For now, remember this: letting go is not about losing your past. It is about reclaiming your present. Chapter 11. Building a happiness system, not motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It arrives without warning, disappears without explanation, and rarely shows up when you need it most. Many people spend years waiting for motivation to return, believing that once they feel inspired again, life will move forward. But sustainable happiness is not built on motivation. It is built on systems. A system is what carries you forward when emotion fluctuates. It does not depend on how you feel. It depends on what you have already decided. This distinction changes everything. Motivation asks, "Do I feel like doing this today?" A system asks, "What happens next?" When happiness depends on motivation, it becomes fragile. On difficult days, effort stops. Progress stalls. Self-criticism increases. The mind interprets low motivation as failure. But low motivation is not failure. It is information. It signals fatigue, overwhelm, uncertainty, or emotional depletion. Responding to that signal with pressure makes things worse. Systems remove pressure. They reduce decision fatigue. They eliminate constant negotiation with the self. They create consistency without requiring emotional intensity. This is why people with stable routines often appear calmer, not because their lives are easier, but because fewer decisions are required to stay regulated. Happiness systems are not rigid schedules. They are supportive structures. They include predictable anchors that stabilize the nervous system and protect mental energy. One of the most important components of a happiness system is intentional mornings. The way you begin the day sets the tone for your internal environment. It does not need to be elaborate. What matters is consistency, a short moment of grounding, a brief movement, a few minutes of reflection. These actions signal safety and agency to the brain before external demands appear. Another critical component is energy management. Most people manage time but neglect energy. They fill schedules without considering capacity. This creates exhaustion even when productivity is high. A happiness system accounts for limits. It includes pauses, recovery periods, and boundaries. It respects the body's need for rest and the mind's need for transition. Ignoring energy leads to burnout. Managing energy leads to sustainability. Systems also protect against emotional overwhelm. When routines are in place, difficult days have structure. You do not have to invent coping strategies while stressed. The system carries you. This is especially important during hard seasons. Hard seasons reduce cognitive flexibility. Decisions feel heavier. Emotional regulation weakens. Systems compensate for this reduction. They act as external support when internal resources are low. Another benefit of systems is that they build trust. Each time you follow through on a small, planned action, credibility increases. The mind learns that effort leads somewhere predictable. This reduces anxiety. Predictability is calming. A happiness system also includes mental hygiene. Just as physical hygiene prevents illness, mental hygiene prevents emotional buildup. This includes regular reflection, emotional check-ins, and releasing accumulated stress. Without this maintenance, small pressures compound. Systems ensure release happens regularly, not only during crises. Another key element is environment design. Your surroundings influence mood more than willpower ever could. Clutter increases cognitive load. Noise increases irritability. Lack of boundaries increases stress. A happiness system intentionally shapes the environment. Clear spaces, reduce distractions, physical cues that encourage calm rather than urgency. These adjustments do not remove problems, but they reduce friction. Friction is exhausting. Systems also simplify self-care. Self-care is often misunderstood as indulgence or escape. In reality, it is maintenance. It keeps internal systems functioning. In a happiness system, self-care is scheduled, not optional. It becomes part of the structure rather than a reward. This prevents guilt and inconsistency. Another important aspect is flexibility. A good system adapts to changing conditions. It is not punitive. It does not demand perfection. It adjusts based on capacity. When energy is low, the system scales down without collapsing. When energy increases, it expands naturally. This flexibility prevents abandonment. Many people fail to maintain habits because their systems are too rigid. When disruption occurs, they quit entirely. Flexible systems survive disruption. They prioritize continuity over intensity. Another advantage of systems is that they reduce emotional reactivity. When routines are in place, the mind feels less threatened by uncertainty. It knows there is a baseline of stability to return to. This stability allows emotions to pass without escalation. Happiness becomes less dependent on circumstances and more dependent on structure. It is also important to recognize that systems create freedom, not limitation. Freedom does not come from endless choice. It comes from reduced chaos. When systems handle basic regulation, mental energy is freed for creativity, connection, and meaning. This is why disciplined lives often feel lighter, not heavier. Discipline is not a restriction when it supports well-being. A happiness system also encourages patience. Progress becomes gradual and cumulative rather than urgent. You stop measuring success by daily mood. and start measuring it by consistency. This long-term view reduces pressure. Pressure erodes happiness. Consistency sustains it. Building a happiness system takes time. It requires observation, adjustment, and honesty about what works and what doesn't. There is no universal formula. The goal is not to copy someone else's routine. The goal is to design support for your specific nervous system, responsibilities, and values. When you do this, happiness stops feeling like something you chase. It becomes something you maintain. In the next chapter, we will explore resilience, how to stay flexible under pressure, recover from setbacks, and continue forward without hardening or breaking. For now, remember this: motivation fades, systems remain, and happiness built on systems does not disappear when life becomes difficult. It adapts and continues. Chapter 12. The role of resilience in happiness. Happiness is often misunderstood as the absence of difficulty, but the truth is simpler and more demanding. Happiness is not built by avoiding hardship. It is built by how you respond when hardship arrives. This capacity to respond, adapt, and continue forward is called resilience. Resilience is not toughness. It is not emotional numbness. It is not pretending that pain does not exist. Resilience is the ability to experience difficulty without losing yourself inside it. Life will challenge you, regardless of how positive you are. Loss, disappointment, uncertainty, and failure are unavoidable. What separates people who remain emotionally stable from those who collapse is not circumstance, it is resilience. Resilience does not eliminate pain. It contains it. A resilient mind bends without breaking. It absorbs shock, regains balance, and continues forward without hardening. This is why resilience is one of the most important foundations of sustainable happiness. Without resilience, happiness becomes fragile. With resilience, happiness becomes flexible. One of the core truths about resilience is this: you do not build it during easy seasons. Resilience is built quietly, during moments that test your patience, confidence, and self-trust. It develops when things do not go as planned, and you choose to remain engaged rather than withdrawn. Every time you face discomfort without escaping, resilience strengthens. Every time you recover instead of giving up, resilience grows. Resilience is cumulative. It is built through repeated exposure to manageable difficulty, not overwhelming pressure, but a challenge that stretches without destroying. This is why avoiding discomfort weakens resilience. Comfort without challenge makes the nervous system sensitive. Small stresses feel catastrophic. Emotional tolerance decreases. Resilience restores tolerance. A resilient person does not panic when things go wrong. They assess, adjust, and respond. Another critical aspect of resilience is emotional flexibility. Emotional flexibility is the ability to move through emotions rather than becoming trapped inside them. It allows sadness without despair, frustration without rage, and fear without paralysis. Rigid emotional responses create suffering. Resilient minds remain fluid. They acknowledge emotion without letting it dictate behavior. This skill develops through awareness and regulation, not suppression. Suppressing emotion increases tension. Observing emotion reduces its intensity. Resilience involves learning how to sit with discomfort long enough for it to pass. Most emotions peak and decline naturally when they are not resisted. Resistance prolongs them. This is why resilience includes emotional literacy, the ability to name, understand, and process internal states. When emotions are understood, they become manageable. Another pillar of resilience is self-belief. Self-belief is not arrogance. It is confidence in your ability to cope. A resilient person trusts that even if things go wrong, they will find a way forward. This belief reduces fear and increases persistence. Self-belief grows through evidence. Each time you survive difficulty, your mind learns that you are capable. Each recovery reinforces confidence. This is why reflecting on past resilience matters. Many people underestimate their strength because they forget what they have already endured. Remembering survival builds confidence. Resilience is also deeply connected to support systems. Humans are not designed to endure alone. Emotional resilience increases dramatically when support is available. Connection regulates the nervous system. Being heard, understood, and validated reduces stress responses. It does not solve problems, but it makes them bearable. Resilient individuals allow support. They do not equate independence with isolation. Accepting help is not a weakness. It is wisdom. Another essential component of resilience is meaning. Suffering without meaning feels unbearable. Suffering with meaning becomes tolerable. When difficulty is framed as part of growth, purpose, or learning, endurance increases. This does not mean romanticizing pain. It means contextualizing it. Resilient minds ask, "What is this shaping in me?" rather than "Why is this happening to me?" This shift reduces helplessness. Meaning transforms adversity into development. Resilience also depends on physical regulation. Sleep, nutrition, movement, and rest directly influence emotional capacity. A dysregulated body cannot support a resilient mind. Exhaustion reduces tolerance. Hunger increases irritability. Sleep deprivation weakens emotional control. This is why resilience is not purely mental. It is physiological. Caring for the body increases emotional stability. This is not self-indulgence. It is preparation. Another underestimated factor is self-compassion. Resilient people are not harsh with themselves. They do not punish failure. They respond to mistakes with correction, not cruelty. Self-criticism erodes resilience. Compassion repairs it. When inner dialogue is supportive, recovery is faster. When inner dialogue is hostile, setbacks deepen. Resilience requires an internal environment that allows learning without shame. Mistakes become information rather than identity. Another trait of resilient minds is acceptance. Acceptance does not mean approval. It means acknowledging reality without resistance. Resisting reality drains energy. Accepting it frees energy for response. When you accept what is, you regain choice. Resilient individuals focus on what can be influenced rather than what cannot. This preserves agency. The agency is stabilizing. Resilience also involves patience. Recovery is rarely immediate. Healing unfolds gradually. Growth is uneven. Expecting instant improvement increases frustration. Patience allows time to work. Resilient people trust processes. They understand that progress happens beneath the surface before it becomes visible. This trust reduces anxiety during uncertainty. Resilience is not dramatic. It is quiet. It shows up in persistence, adaptation, and steadiness. It allows happiness to exist even when life is imperfect. Not because pain disappears, but because you no longer disappear inside pain. In the next chapter, we will explore how giving, kindness, and contribution multiply happiness and strengthen resilience through connection and purpose. For now, remember this: happiness without resilience is temporary. Happiness supported by resilience endures. You do not need a perfect life to be happy. You need the strength to continue when life is imperfect. Chapter 13: The Power of Giving and Kindness. Happiness is often pursued as something to be acquired. More success, more comfort, more security, more recognition. But one of the most counterintuitive truths about happiness is this: the more you focus only on yourself, the more fragile happiness becomes. And the more you extend yourself outward through giving, kindness, and contribution, the more stable happiness feels. This is not philosophy. It is psychology. Giving is not merely a moral act. It is a biological and emotional regulator. When you give your time, attention, care, or resources, your nervous system responds. Oxytocin increases. Stress hormones decrease. Emotional balance improves. Kindness calms the mind. This is why generosity feels grounding even during difficult times. It reconnects you to something larger than your internal struggles. Many people wait until they feel happy before they give. But happiness often arrives because they give. Giving shifts attention outward. It interrupts rumination. It breaks the loop of self-absorption. A mind constantly focused inward magnifies problems. A mind directed outward regains proportion. This does not mean ignoring your needs. It means balancing them. Giving restores perspective. One of the deepest sources of emotional pain is disconnection. Loneliness, even in crowded lives, erodes well-being. Humans are wired for contribution. We are regulated through meaningful interaction. Kindness rebuilds connection. A simple act. Listening without interrupting, offering encouragement, helping, without expectation, signals safety to both the giver and the receiver. Safety is the foundation of happiness. When the nervous system perceives safety, the mind becomes flexible, creative, and open. This is why kindness is not weakness. It is regulation. Another important truth: giving does not require abundance. You do not need excess time, money, or energy to give meaningfully. Small acts produce disproportionate emotional impact. A message, a gesture, a moment of attention. These moments accumulate. Kindness creates a ripple effect. When you give, you do not just affect one person. You influence their emotional state, which influences how they treat others. The effect multiplies invisibly. This is one reason giving feels purposeful. It extends impact beyond immediate results. Purpose strengthens happiness. A life oriented around contribution feels meaningful, even when circumstances are imperfect, meaning buffers suffering. This is why people who experience hardship often report deeper fulfillment when they help others through similar struggles. Pain transformed into purpose becomes healing. Giving also reshapes identity. When you see yourself as someone who contributes, your self-concept stabilizes. You are no longer defined solely by what you lack or struggle with. You become anchored in value. Identity stability supports emotional resilience. Another key dimension of giving is intentional kindness, not performative kindness, not transactional generosity, but a sincere presence. True kindness expects nothing in return. This absence of expectation frees the giver from disappointment. Expectation contaminates giving. When kindness is used to gain approval, its emotional benefit weakens. But when kindness is given freely, it strengthens self-worth. Self-worth based on character is durable. This is why giving in private often feels more powerful than public recognition. It aligns action with values rather than image. Alignment produces peace. Another overlooked aspect of giving is self-kindness. Many people give generously to others while withholding compassion from themselves. This creates an imbalance. Self-kindness is not indulgence. It is internal fairness, speaking to yourself with patience, allowing rest, forgiving mistakes. These acts restore emotional energy. Without self-kindness, outward generosity becomes draining. Balanced giving includes yourself. A healthy giver understands limits. Boundaries protect sustainability. Giving from depletion leads to resentment. Giving from balance leads to fulfillment. This is why discernment matters. You are not required to give everything to everyone. You are responsible for giving wisely. Kindness, guided by self-respect, preserves energy. Another powerful element of giving is forgiveness. Forgiveness is not excusing harm. It is releasing the emotional grip of resentment. Holding resentment keeps the nervous system activated. It perpetuates stress. Forgiveness reduces internal tension. It frees emotional resources previously consumed by anger and rumination. This does not require reconciliation. It requires release. Forgiveness benefits the forgiver more than the forgiven. This is why it contributes to happiness. Another form of giving is attention. In an age of distraction, focused attention is rare and valuable. When you offer undivided attention, you affirm worth. Being truly seen calms the nervous system. Listening without judgment is a profound act of kindness. It costs little but gives deeply. Attention creates connection. Connection supports happiness. Giving also strengthens gratitude. When you give, you recognize what you already have. Awareness of abundance, even small abundance, counteracts scarcity thinking. Scarcity fuels anxiety. Abundance awareness fuels calm. Giving reinforces abundance perception. This is why generosity reduces fear. Fear thrives in perceived lack. Giving contradicts that perception. Another psychological benefit of giving is agency. Giving reminds you that you can influence the world, even in small ways. This restores a sense of control. Agency reduces helplessness. Helplessness undermines happiness. Contribution restores power. You may not control outcomes, but you control actions. Giving is an action aligned with values. Value-aligned action stabilizes identity. Identity stability supports happiness. Importantly, giving does not eliminate pain, but it softens its edges. It creates moments of light within difficulty. These moments accumulate. Happiness is not constant joy. It has a sustained meaning. Kindness builds meaning. Giving creates continuity between who you are and how you live. This continuity reduces inner conflict. Inner harmony is happiness. In the next and final chapter, we will explore how all these elements, resilience, meaning, kindness, patience, and perspective, come together through the practice of letting go, allowing lasting peace to emerge. For now, remember this: you do not become happy by holding tighter. You become happier by giving wisely. Kindness does not drain life. It nourishes it. Chapter 14, the practice of letting go, where peace becomes permanent. At some point in life, effort stops working. Not because you are weak, not because you failed, but because what you are holding on to has already served its purpose. This is where letting go begins, not as surrender, but as wisdom. Most people misunderstand letting go. They think it means giving up, losing care, or becoming indifferent. In reality, letting go is an act of clarity. It is the moment you stop feeding what no longer nourishes you. Happiness does not come from controlling life. It comes from releasing the illusion that control was ever possible. The mind clings because it fears uncertainty. It holds onto old stories, identities, regrets, expectations, and outcomes because familiarity feels safer than openness. Even pain becomes comfortable when it is known. But comfort is not peace. Peace emerges when resistance ends. Letting go is not a single decision. It is a daily practice. You release again and again thoughts, emotions, narratives, and attachments that quietly drain energy. One of the most common attachments people carry is attachment to how things should have been. Regret lives there. The mind replays alternate timelines, imagining different choices and outcomes. This creates suffering without resolution. The past cannot be corrected through rumination. The lesson has already been learned, or it has not. Letting go of regret means accepting reality as the only starting point available. Acceptance is not approval. It is an acknowledgement. Acknowledgement ends internal argument. Another heavy attachment is resentment. Resentment feels justified, but it is expensive. It keeps the nervous system activated, replaying injustice and pain. While the mind believes it is protecting you, resentment quietly steals peace. Letting go of resentment is not forgetting. It is choosing not to relive harm repeatedly. You do not need closure from others to release resentment. Closure is internal. Peace does not require agreement. It requires release. Another attachment that prevents happiness is identity attachment. People cling to outdated versions of themselves: the achiever, the caretaker, the struggler, the strong one, long after those identities no longer fit. When identity becomes rigid, growth feels threatening. Letting go of identity allows evolution. You are not required to remain who you were in order to honor who you have been. Growth requires permission to change. Another subtle attachment is outcome attachment. You may work hard, make good choices, and still experience unexpected results. When happiness depends on specific outcomes, it becomes fragile. Letting go of outcomes does not mean abandoning effort. It means detaching worth from results. You control actions, not consequences. This distinction reduces anxiety. When outcomes are released, effort becomes lighter, presence increases, performance often improves, not because of pressure, but because of focus. Another area where letting go is essential is emotional resistance. Many people fight emotions they consider negative: sadness, fear, disappointment. Resistance amplifies these emotions. What is resisted persists. Letting go does not mean indulging emotions. It means allowing them to pass without judgment. Emotions are temporary signals, not permanent states. When allowed, they move through naturally. Peace comes from allowing experience, not policing it. Another attachment is perfectionism. Perfectionism disguises itself as high standards, but its true function is avoidance, avoiding criticism, failure, or vulnerability. Perfectionism delays joy. Letting go of perfection means allowing progress to be enough. Enough effort, enough growth, enough presence. Completion is more peaceful than flawlessness. Another burden people carry is future fear. The mind projects worst-case scenarios, trying to prepare for pain, but anticipation multiplies suffering without improving outcomes. Letting go of future fear means returning attention to what exists now. The present is the only place where life is manageable. Fear shrinks in the present. Letting go also applies to comparison. Comparison distorts self-perception. It creates artificial benchmarks and undermines gratitude. No two lives share the same timeline, values, or constraints. Letting go of comparison restores self-trust. Self-trust stabilizes happiness. Another important release is the need for validation. External approval feels rewarding, but dependence on it creates instability. Praise and criticism fluctuate. Basing worth on them ensures emotional volatility. Letting go of validation means anchoring worth internally. Internal worth does not fluctuate with opinion. This creates emotional independence. Letting go also involves releasing control over others. You cannot regulate other people's emotions, choices, or perceptions. Attempting to do so creates exhaustion. Letting go of control restores energy. Boundaries replace control. Boundaries protect peace. Another overlooked area is letting go of urgency. Constant urgency keeps the nervous system in a state of alert. Life becomes a series of emergencies. Letting go of urgency allows depth. Depth creates meaning. Meaning sustains happiness. Letting go is not passive. It is an active discernment. You decide what deserves energy and what does not. This discernment is learned through awareness. Awareness asks, does this thought serve me? Does this attachment support growth? Does this effort align with values? If not, release is appropriate. Release creates space. Space allows calm. Calm supports clarity. Clarity enables better choices. This cycle reinforces itself. Letting go also strengthens resilience. When you release rigid expectations, setbacks lose their power to destabilize identity. You adapt rather than collapse. Adaptation is strength. Resilience grows when you stop demanding certainty. Life remains uncertain, but you become flexible. Flexibility is peace. Letting go also deepens gratitude. When expectations soften, appreciation increases. Small moments regain significance. Contentment becomes accessible. Happiness becomes quieter, but steadier. This is lasting happiness, not excitement without interruption, but peace with movement. As you practice letting go, you may notice resistance. That resistance is normal. The mind fears losing control. Thank it for trying to protect you, then choose release anyway. Each release reduces inner conflict. Inner harmony grows. In the final closing reflection, we will bring everything together: calm, resilience, kindness, systems, meaning, patience, and release, into a unified understanding of happiness that remains steady even when life is difficult. For now, remember this: peace does not arrive by force. It arrives when you stop holding what no longer belongs to you. Letting go is not a loss, it is alignment. And alignment is where lasting happiness lives. Where calm, meaning, and happiness unite, there comes a moment, not loud, not dramatic, when you realize that happiness was never meant to be chased. It was never hiding in the future. It was never locked behind success, comfort, or perfect conditions. It was always waiting for how you relate to life. Throughout this book, you have explored something deeper than motivation. you have explored understanding. You have seen that happiness is not the absence of struggle, but the ability to remain steady within it. You learned that calm is not weakness, but regulation. That resilience is not toughness, but flexibility. That kindness is not sacrifice, but connection. Those systems matter more than bursts of inspiration. That meaning protects you when pleasure fades. That patience quiets urgency. And that letting go is not loss, it is freedom. Life will continue to challenge you. That is not a flaw. It is reality. There will be uncertainty. There will be change. There will be moments when progress feels invisible. But you are no longer waiting for life to become easy in order to feel okay. You have learned how to build stability internally. You know how to ground yourself when emotions rise, how to choose perspective when circumstances feel heavy, how to respond rather than react, how to release what drains you, how to protect your energy, how to stay aligned with what matters. This is quiet strength, not the kind that announces itself, but the kind that endures. Happiness, as you now understand it, is not excitement without interruption. It is peace that moves with you. It does not demand perfection. It does not disappear on hard days. It adapts. It breathes. It continues. From this point forward, your task is simple, but not easy. Return to what supports you. Release what no longer serves you. Act in alignment with your values, and allow life to unfold without constant resistance. You do not need to force happiness. You need to maintain clarity. Clarity in choices. Clarity in boundaries. Clarity in priorities. Clarity in self-respect. When clarity is present, peace follows naturally. And when peace is present, happiness becomes sustainable. As you move forward, remember this: you are not behind. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are learning how to live with depth instead of pressure, and that is not a weakness. That is wisdom. If this book brought you insight, calm, or even a moment of stillness, stay connected. Subscribe to this channel, not as a habit, but as a commitment to clarity, calm, and inner strength. Because the work you are doing now is not about information, it is about transformation. And transformation, when done quietly and consistently, changes everything.